Hey folks, Travis here. This is False. This week on the program, we're pleased to be joined by Montreal filmmaker, artist, activist, and all-around swell human being, Liz Singh. Liz wrote, directed, and co-produced an independent film called The Lower Plateau about an artist struggling with depression and whether or not she should stick it out in Montreal. We didn't really talk about the movie until the second half because, as you'll hear, she fits right in and, well, we get distracted pretty easily. Liz has lived a fascinating life from Windsor to Montreal to Los Angeles, back to Montreal to India, and back to Montreal again. We chatted about stonks, about James Cameron and the alienation of conspiracy believers, and eventually her movie, which you should watch. There's a link in the episode notes. Go do it. All right. Enjoy our chat with Liz Singh. Oh, and obviously, if you want to give us all your money, you can do so by going to patreon.com/thisisfalse.
Hey.
Tell us why we should care about stonks.
Oh, you shouldn't at all. There's no reason. Why would you ever? But if you want to lose a bunch of money, like there is time. There is always time. If you want to lose a bunch of money doing something not cool, like quite cool, but not cool in the ways that it's playing out, stocks and crypto are the way to go. So like. This is so funny.
I'll
so
switch it from video bingo then.
I mean, it works. So, like, are you talking about more of the GameStop stuff?
Well, so yeah,
You heard
so
about this?
GameStop has been covered a lot, I feel.
Okay.
And I mean, we can talk about that because I think it's probably something that all four of us are at least a little bit aware of on some level or another. We've at least by osmosis absorbed it into our world.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Am I officially here for this part?
Oh yeah. We just kind of start doing it. You're in now.
Yeah, that's how I started on this podcast. I was like, wait, you guys are recording?
Yeah, we've been recording the entire time.
You've now been introduced.
I'm officially here. Okay, I don't know anything. I vaguely understand what happened with the GameStop stock.
Hard saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't think we need to go in depth on what happened because everybody should know what happened. But essentially, a bunch of people got together, bought a stock, and stocks basically. Also, I learned this weekend. I didn't know anything about stocks. I just assumed it was actual business practices that made stocks go up. Not the case.
No,
not at all.
It's
It
all
is
fake.
It's completely fake.
Did you ever see it? There's like a Christian Bale movie. Oh shoot, I forget what it's called. But there's a
The
Christian
Big Short.
Bale. Yes.
Yeah, The Big Short.
And like for about 20 minutes after I saw that movie, I felt like I had a really solid grasp on how the whole thing.
You're like, I'm a pro.
Yeah, they explained it really well, and I was like 2008 financial crash, like I'm all caught up. You know, it's 2020.
Like, I could be a day trader now.
Right. I mean, apparently anybody can. Apparently that's the takeaway. That's the takeaway.
Yeah, literally anybody can.
Yeah.
We'll see how long anybody can, though. They might not be.
Right.
Soon.
Right. They seem to be closing that option off.
Yeah. So I guess like not to get into it too much, but like so a bunch of people bought this one stock. It went up. The big hedge funds that run everything in terms of stocks or usually do started losing money and trying and they're in this like fight, but it's not really a fight. And it's all doomed. Although I love it. It's so funny to see, but it's such misplaced energy. The problem here is that it's like this mass of people that decide to buy this stock in order to enrich themselves, but also screw over these hedge funds. Like they're all immediately turning on each other. Like there's a solid group of them, like because they only win if they don't sell their stock.
Yeah.
But they're all selling slowly and slowly
they are.
because. Yeah, of course.
This makes me so happy.
I would 100% sell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the thing was that GameStop is failing. It's a business that's about to go bankrupt, and they're not going to be a thing anymore.
Yeah.
And so, what happens with companies like this is that hedge fund managers will buy stock, or they will bet against them. So they'll bet that the stock price will fall, and they buy a small amount of the stock and then like bet that it falls and then sell it at a profit or something. That's the part I don't really understand, but it's a thing. It's called shorting. It is what The Big Short was about.
Right.
And then so basically to say kind of to say fuck you to this hedge fund, these hedge funds, these like Redditors decided to rally around GameStop. They picked the stock that was like most being shorted, and then like bought shit tons of it, causing the stock to go way up, which makes the hedge funds lose the bet.
Okay.
And then there's like this standoff between the two sides where like whoever sells them off first makes a bunch of money while the other one loses a bunch. And already hedge funds have lost like what is it, $100 billion or something from this thing?
Yeah.
I don't
So
understand
like
it, but I like it.
Yeah.
it's basically that as long as those people hold, the stock stays pretty high, and as long as more people jump on. But as soon as you sell, that stock starts going down.
Mm-hmm.
So immediately, as soon as it went high, like the next day, it went down $100, and there was your problem right there, because people were like, "Oh, this is the hedge funds, and they're manipulating the markets," which I'm sure they did. But also, a ton of people were selling their stock, and as they do that, the stock is going to keep on going down. So you're going to have the ideological people who are like, "We're doing this against the hedge funds." They're probably still with GameStop. They'll probably still make money, because in order for this stock to actually tank, the initial value was like $20, and now it's at like, even now it's at like 200.
Wasn't it at like
So
$8 or something? Like at the end of November?
yeah, originally, and then
Yeah.
it went to 20. That's when I think most people started buying it around there, 10, 20, around there. So the people who bought in November, who are like super, usually like rich folks, or like people who had already decided that they were going to try and invest. Like there's this one guy who invested in that company in November, and he's made like $5 billion or something. It's
Jesus.
as of now. Yeah, like all these smaller investors are making a killing, of course, but they're not making as much as some of these bigger investors. That being said, the real problem is now all those people who were ignoring this whole thing. First of all, before this happened, a ton of people have lost money through this thing called Wall Street Bets, which is just like a Reddit where people post like, "Hey, I'm going to invest in this. Join me, and it's going to go way up." And of course, it's going to go way up because a bunch of people see that and invest. And then the people who come up with this just pull their money, make their money, and everybody else it crashes.
Fuck.
So yeah. So like there are stories leading up to the GameStop thing where people are like, "I lost $100,000 off of Wall Street Bets," and all this kind of thing,
Yeah.
because like
And
obviously.
Robinhood, right? Robinhood is the other one that's sort of or is the thing that's taking the bets.
Yeah, so Wall Street Bets is just like it's the same thing as like a forum where you can just post. Anybody can post. I could post. I could say invest in TIF, $TIF, invest today, and like we could make a 1 cent stock, penny stock, and go public, and people would buy it, right? And Robinhood is the app that lets you. So most professional investors or whatever, or a lot of investors use their banks, which don't have the same rules. And aren't allowed to do the things that Robinhood as like a non-bank entity can do, which is they were told to stop letting people like manipulate the markets in this way because only rich people get to. And they did. And they were like, "Oh, for your own safety, we're going to make sure you can't buy more stocks because you're going to lose all your money," essentially guaranteeing that people will lose more money.
And that Robinhood will make a buck.
And
That's great. That's great.
yeah, and then people sued them. So we'll
Yeah.
see how that goes. But here's the thing I really wanted to jump into is since then, because like, cool, the GameStop thing kind of worked. I'm all about people getting things to work, even if it's a little misdirected, whatever. But since then, people keep on saying like, "Did you miss out on GameStop? You should invest in this thing or that thing." Or it could be like, it could be a stock. So one of them is AMC, which is like the theater,
Yeah.
the company that runs movie theaters, which is also a terrible stock to invest in because
Yep.
that company is horrible.
And they're basically out of
Or
business as
Nokia.
well.
BlackBerry, there's a ton, but also people are pushing cryptos. So people are like, you should get into random cryptos. Like one is called Dogecoin, which was a joke cryptocurrency made when Bitcoin was getting popular.
I'm
It
sorry,
makes
what?
no sense. It's literally based off of 4chan.
I'm sorry, that's
It's called
Dogecoin.
Dogecoin. Like
It's Doge.
It's clearly
it's
dog.
Doge, obviously. Liz, what do you think? How would you pronounce Doge? And it's a fluffy
I thought
dog.
I thought it was doggy. So I'm just keeping track. I thought it was, I thought it was
No.
doggy coin this whole
Doggy?
time.
That's really cute, though.
I don't think
Fair.
I'm right. No. I don't think I'm right. No, I'm just smiling because like you're making like because like I go on TikTok and I go on on Twitter, and I like pretend I understand what's happening. But this is actually making think. Okay, can I ask a question then? So I saw some TikTok video
Oh, the TikToks are the biggest scammers. Do tell.
I saw some TikTok videos where people went to GameStops and they bought all the stuff at the GameStop. Was that related to this? Is that part of the same thing, or is that a totally
Yeah, because they use their earnings, right?
Are they trying to make the stock go up by buying all of this? I don't
No, the stocks
understand.
are not connected to how the business does.
I have
Stocks are
no
entirely
fucking idea.
speculation. They're entirely like rich people speculating on which companies are going to do well financially.
Stocks are so fucking stupid.
It's fake. It's entirely a
So
speculative
stupid. Why
system.
is this even a thing?
It's a really good question.
I have no idea why it's a thing.
There's a really good HBO show right now called Industry. Like I think it's like about these people, and like they just like make deals and stuff like all day, and they're like extremely stressed out people. Like in the first episode, but this guy just like straight up he just like dies from stress because he's so stressed out about these like
Looking at you,
stocks
Travis.
that-
Yeah.
I'm 100% going to die from stress.
Hard same, buddy. We're going down together.
But I don't do it from stonks.
So
No.
it's so confusing, and I don't totally understand what they're doing, but like man, like the stakes are high.
Like I think initially, like I have no idea if this is true. Some MBA major, feel free to not connect me or correct me on Twitter, but like it is an easy way for companies to raise money, and it gives like if you have a stock, you essentially have a little bit of ownership in a company, right? Like that was the idea initially. It was to create like you can raise a ton of revenue. So our wonderful friends at World Wrestling Entertainment went public. And the result was that they raised enough money by people buying their stocks and just like the price going up that they were able to sell a part of their stocks, not lose any ownership, by the way. Like the guy who owns it, who's a terrible human being, still has like 90% of ownership,
How dare
was
you?
able to raise like $1 billion and just waste it on trying to start like restart the XFL and compete with the NFL
Oh,
How
God.
dare-
right before.
How
I guess-
dare
Uh-huh.
you besmirch the good name of Vincent McMahon? How dare you?
Vincent Kennedy
what's
McMahon
the point
Jr.
of all this?
Vinny's a
Like, what
piece
is-
of shit.
Sorry, hold on. Wait, would you say this?
Oh no, this is just like another like me trying to figure out what's going on. What is the point of all this? Like, what is the point of Wall Street? I realize.
Oh, it's just a money making scheme. That's
That
it.
might be
It's
outside
Yeah,
just
it's
a
a
scheme
pyramid
of money.
scheme. It's an
Podcast.
MLM.
Yeah.
Yeah. They convince you that you own some part of a business.
Yeah.
And you,
I'm like, it sounds like this could stop happening and it would impact almost no one or nothing.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yep.
We could just stop doing this.
yeah,
Yeah.
we could just stop.
Yeah.
Like, why don't we just
It doesn't-
stop?
it
Why don't we
doesn't seem
just
like there are
kill
a
all
lot
the
of-
people
Okay.
who do it? We could do that too.
Then it would stop. And then you kill two birds with one stone.
Or many
Many
billionaires
birds,
with
many
one stone.
billionaires with, I
Yeah.
don't know.
So the thing that I
Okay,
think
but
is
Travis. But then Travis, what will people waste their money on next? Taxes?
There's so much
Come
to waste your
on.
money on. Like, there's so much. If you want to spend your money on things, like, there's so many ways to waste your money.
Yeah, like video
True.
bingo.
hey Liz, can I you might have to be closer to the phone. I'm fearing that we're hearing her well because we're on headphones, and as soon as I try to make this into a podcast, it's not going to work.
Oh, fuck, I will.
Oh no. Okay.
Hold
Okay.
on.
Okay.
Because
But
you're
then
pretty,
my face,
you're pretty
my face
quiet.
is gonna start to look weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Closer,
That's okay.
The closer
If-
the mic gets. Okay.
I'll be
fine,
here
it's
with
fine.
you in weird face solidarity.
It's just my ego. It's not. It's okay. I'm just gonna look a little.
I think you look great, so
shorter.
it's
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
it's fine.
same.
This is as close as it's getting though. Like if you can't hear me at this point, I'm not gonna distort my face further.
That's a better signal, I think. We got to figure out a way to do this where when we have guests on, the quality is decent. I
Well,
don't know how people in the world do this.
like what we can do is wait for the pandemic to be over and then invite
And then
them
have them in my
and then-
apartment.
and then have them here.
Yes, that would be ideal.
Or
That-
send them a
that
pair
could
of,
work.
Was that?
Yeah.
we
Mo?
could send a pair of. Oh, hold on. Let me try something.
Are you gonna make her
Liz.
louder?
Should I say
Yeah,
something?
try now,
Do you want me to-
Liz.
I'm talking.
That better?
I literally almost offered to put my phone inside like a cup, but that's not gonna help you guys. I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
Volume isn't helping,
I
is
think-
it?
That might make it worse.
I don't think so. It's fine.
No.
Guys,
Okay, I
physics is
tried.
hard.
Fine.
It's fine, I think.
Fine.
I moved to
Let's
Bud.
hope
I did
it's
my-
fine,
my-
or we're gonna do an emergency recording of an episode tomorrow night
Mm-hmm.
and just be like, we don't know what happened to Liz. She just canceled on us.
I don't know. What a piece of shit. I can't believe she did that.
How could a Windsor native do us? We shared Fago. Like,
That's what
come on.
happens when you go to Montreal. You just fucking
Yeah, think you're better than
Nice day,
everyone.
like,
for
think
everybody.
better.
Not too big.
Ah.
Too big for us because you've been to a Day Penner skis. Jeez.
fucking Quebec.
Yeah, yeah. We it's when I was like thinking about we kept saying fuck Quebec, I kept thinking about Liz. So it was
she's
like
not
I know
gonna
that
come
Liz listens to this, and she's in Montreal. We have to say Montreal's cool.
Yeah.
Oh
Is
my
that
gosh,
what you-
no, it's completely fine with me. I just like I can't say it. You know, like,
Right, no.
I as an anglophone in Quebec, I can't say fuck Quebec.
No, you're already on thin ice.
Yeah, that's true.
right, exactly. They're barely tolerating my presence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we shouted out Quebec sovereignty several times. We did that.
Yeah, that's
We
true.
Okay.
we gave them props.
I mean, that's good. That's a movement. You know.
I feel
That's-
like at this
It's a-
point, if listeners aren't aware that we are being just kind of like, you know, a little bit
Facetious.
facetious, yeah, then they can
Then they're who we mean.
they are who we mean, right? Then they can just like eat a dick.
Yeah.
Well,
LaSalle.
I mean, I
What do we got? We got LaSalle.
LaSalle,
Milton.
Milton.
Fuck Milton.
fuck
Milton.
Milton.
Maybe the hardest of all.
Where's Milton?
It's near Toronto.
It doesn't matter where Milton is because
Yeah.
fuck Milton.
Because fuck it. Yeah.
Aurora over Milton any day,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but not by much.
So okay, the one thing I just wanted to talk about with this GameStop thing, and then we can maybe talk about a movie that somebody made.
Titanic. I knew it. We were going to talk about Titanic.
Yeah, we our special guest James Cameron.
Yeah.
Just so.
Yeah. Hey, I have so many questions about Avatar.
Me too, buddy. Me
Yeah,
too.
same.
What
I
was
should really
it in
watch
a-
that.
It's
Yeah,
you've seen it. You've seen other things.
I
that
feel
are
like
basically-
I just
Transformers.
I need.
Yeah,
oh
or
my
like
god, I
Last
haven't
Samurai,
seen
that was
anything.
True. Oh my god! Of course,
I
Last
am
Samurai
really
was-
insulted by the comparison between Transformers and Avatar, but we're not going down this road right now.
You don't want to go down
I
that
actually
road.
like Avatar. I think it was a good movie. So fight me.
We're gonna have to watch it.
It's not a
I mean,
good movie.
I think it was Hollywood trash, but I think that was kind of the point.
Yeah.
But it's James
Yeah,
Cameron.
but it's like define like a good movie. Like it was very like it was like you know it's beautiful. Like he spent a lot of money and it really that. But sorry, none of this was the point. We aren't actually talking about Avatar. You were gonna tell us.
We
No.
could though. I mean, I'm okay with that because I'll throw down. Because I heard Avatar. Didn't you tell me Avatar 2 was coming out, Travis?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
he's
Avatar
releasing
and-
2 more.
Yeah, he
And
he flew a
three,
bunch of
yeah,
people
and
into a
three.
dome.
Sorry, we were
What
just-
else? What are you gonna do in Avatar 2? Like
And
Avatar and 3? Like,
And three.
did
and
this
three.
need to be a 3-part epic? Even if you want to say it's a good movie, which Travis, I disagree with you. Very comparable to
mean-
Transformers in so many ways.
Like probably like anything worth doing once is worth doing 3 times.
Listen.
Like,
Let's be honest. Avatar was
Anything-
him trying to perfect his 3D graphics so that he could make Transformers in Transformers.
He didn't make Transformers. That was Michael
Oh,
Bay.
Robots.
shit.
It counts. It counts. He was probably involved in the freaking.
it's all the same. They're all
James
don't
Cameron
talk.
would
Yeah.
listen. Don't listen.
They're also
don't
just
you
like the
bes-
hedge fund.
don't you besmirch the good name of James Cameron, all right? That motherfucker would not go within 10,000 miles of fucking bullshit Transformers. I will fight all of you about this. Swear to God.
the integrity of James Cameron, the artist James
Yeah,
Cameron.
the
Yes.
artist.
Man, you love that guy, eh?
I mean, Titanic,
Terminator?
Transformer, Avatar.
Titanic,
Okay, he's not.
Avatar,
You're not wrong. Like you're not wrong.
Terminator was a good movie.
I haven't
Terminator,
seen-
the villain is a cop. Titanic
I
is all
know.
about class. Avatar, the villain is the United States military.
Here we go.
Someone needs.
That is
Here we go.
That is-
Listen, I'm just saying.
Is that
No,
the
the
Avatar story? I feel
politics.
like the Avatar story is like basically Dances with Wolves, but
Oh,
with
that's a
blue,
good movie.
blue creatures. Like
Yes,
it's
okay.
like it's,
There's problematic racial elements to it. I'm not gonna defend some of it.
yeah. It's
But it-
definitely the story of like a white guy who meets like a group of like indigenous people and like teaches them how to stand up for themselves.
Yeah.
Ugh.
There's elements of that. Okay,
Okay.
Listen, I'm not saying it's perfect.
Very,
I'm just
very
saying, don't come in here with your Michael Bay trash and try to tell me it's the same.
Okay. Fair. Fair. But what was
This went off
Megatron
the
now?
rails. We were talking about GameStop. I
We
don't know
were
what
talking about
happened.
GameStop, but like I think the thing is with like, sorry, maybe this. I mean, this is like your whole shtick is like doing like news stuff, but like the thing is with like news stuff, like the news is moving so fast. Like that
Yeah.
GameStop thing feels like, why are we still talking about GameStop? Like that was like months ago.
Yeah, because
You know,
we,
that was
Well,
like definitely last month.
Here's
Yeah.
the reason, though.
That's the
Like
problem.
the reason I wanted. No, go ahead.
no, well, we record once a week, so by the time we record our next episode, everything's already either outdated or
Yeah,
just
you have
like
to you have to record more,
Yeah,
or you're
there's, like-
ahead of the curve.
Things
You have to
keep
There's
on
like 10 more
happening.
next week's
crises.
news,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then
Things
you'll be
keep on
ahead.
happening on Wednesdays, and we released that morning. It's not our fault. It's like the
Yeah.
fucking Capitol storming, the inauguration,
Bad
GameStop,
timing.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Whatever's going to happen tomorrow is bad.
no,
It's better
No,
on
yeah,
Wednesday. It's only Monday
Bunker
right now.
down.
But
Get ready.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but the reason I wanted to talk about this is because what's happening is this thing
I like
called
your
a pump.
focus. Mhm.
Yeah.
Sorry, go
I
ahead.
have to get this out here because you mentioned
Do it.
TikTok, and I'm glad there's
Do it.
another
Do it.
person over the age of like 16 who's on TikTok who sees
Uh-huh.
this,
We're all on
because
TikTok.
we need to be here. It's important. We represent important demographics. But this thing is called a pump and dump, where a bunch of people will promote a stock, get a bunch of people to buy in, and now that we know how stocks work, you'll see that it goes
like
up.
a breastfeeding thing. Uh-huh.
I thought it was a.
Sorry.
Never mind.
I was
Thought
gonna,
that was
basically it.
say I've been known to pump and dump. If you know what I'm saying.
Milk.
Someone tried to pay me to do a pump and dump once.
Sorry, no, we're being so bad. We're being so bad.
Sorry.
This is an important,
Sorry.
This
Sorry,
is an
Mo.
important
No.
adult story about Wall Street and
Yeah,
being
100%.
responsible fiscal somethings.
It's
yeah,
about monies.
It's about monies. Because
No.
we're all. I'm sure you've all got big investments that you're worried about.
I am worried about the pumping and the dumping.
Lost it all in GameStop, I'll tell you what.
I don't have any stocks. I have no stocks.
No
I don't.
stocks.
I don't got no stocks.
No
Yeah,
stocks.
fair.
I
But,
just, figured out,
okay.
I just figured out, by the way, how to double Liz's volume, so that should help.
You
Oh,
Is it the
super.
user
Okay, good.
Yay.
Okay. Sorry. Continue, Mo.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
look at that.
It's
No,
okay.
this is
Nothing I
good.
was saying before was interesting. This is for the best, really.
Hey, I'm just trying to figure out. So one thing I really like is when people create curated TikTok compilations of their liked videos. I'm gonna do that soon and put it up on
Oh,
YouTube.
yes.
So
You should.
You
Should make a
absolutely
compilation.
should.
Yeah.
Because I see so many
Yeah.
good ones. I see so many good, and I actually had saved a bunch of them. I did this presentation a couple of weeks ago for some McGill law students about law and poverty, and I like had found all these like related TikToks. But then the last minute I was lazy and I just like ranted at them. But I do want to show them the TikToks that I like put together. It was supposed to like show them anyway. It's supposed to like illustrate all my points.
Man, you should.
I don't
just
think
put
they
do you
all of
find that
those out
people
there.
delete their old TikToks?
Yeah.
I delete my old TikToks.
Do you?
It's embarrassing. I get
It's so
better at them, and then I'm like, what the fuck was I doing?
Oh yeah,
I
because
feel
you
like
had that
part-
good morning thing.
I did. I left those up.
Oh.
Sorry.
I feel
Those are
like
bad.
part of this whole like time though is like you can't like I think this is one of the things that shows you like your generation is like you're like trying to get it right, and that's not the point.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not about you like looking cool or like doing that. Like there are kids who just go, I was telling you earlier, there are kids who just go on there and they're crying. They're just like it's just like
Oh
a
my
video of them crying.
Jesus.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. They're really in pain, but like it's just like it's such a different relationship to media and
Yeah.
to like, you know, to privacy, to like emotions.
But when you make
To
a
be
choice,
like, I just had a bad day.
yeah, when you make a choice to be like, I'm crying, I'm gonna go on TikTok, then
Yeah.
that's it. I
Is
get
it-
to laugh at you.
Hey, well, you might laugh at me tomorrow. Then I think that's what I'm gonna try to do.
I will gladly laugh at your
One of my
sadness.
daily meltdowns where I'm sobbing into a cat.
Is that what we're gonna
That's what it's
do
gonna
for our like this is false TikTok? Is that you and I just like as soon
We're
as we
fucking-
wake up, we'll like TikTok and we're like, I fucking want to die, and then that's it.
I'm telling you, that is like 75% of TikTok already. Like,
Oh.
I
it's
mean,
just
that's what
people
half the
being
content
like,
is.
I just want to die. Yeah.
All right, like damn,
Yeah.
we're gonna be
It's so
TikTok famous.
hardcore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Um,
just
You're
want to
on
show my
trend.
realness.
The thing is you have to like dance while you say it. Like if you dance while you say it
If I'm dancing while
and you
crying,
part your hair in the middle. These are
Okay.
the things that I've
I don't think my hair
I've-
parts. It just.
Then don't worry, forget that one.
That
Forget
one?
that one.
Okay.
It's fine. It's
So
fine.
I'm just
Yeah.
gonna dance and cry,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
basically like I'm pro
I'm
at
telling
that.
you, that is a winning TikTok strategy.
Okay,
If
here we
you
go.
Dance.
Gonna
and
do a
cry.
dance and cry at some point on TikTok. It's gonna be great. We're gonna shoot to the top, baby. Shooting
Yeah,
to the top.
amazing.
I already
Yeah.
went
Just like
viral.
you've been saying.
I've
Yeah, you
done what
did.
I'm gonna do.
You gotta have
Oh,
more
wow,
tears,
that
buddy.
humble
More
brag.
tears.
I went small time viral. Only 50,000 views. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Ooh.
I hate to tell
And
you, but
500
like
followers,
on
though.
TikTok, it's nothing. On
nothing.
TikTok,
That's
they're
nothing.
counting in the
Yeah.
millions. They're
Yep.
counting in the freaking millions.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
So just to wrap up on GameStop.
Yes.
So the whole the narrative that this has been a like revolutionary thing, that this has been like some leftist insurrection on the stock market, has really got to stop.
Wasn't this just for people to make money though?
Kinda, and I mean like, it's just shitty people going up against shittier people, and then mixing up everyday people into their shittiness and making them lose a lot of money.
Yeah, that's not.
Like, like I know that I guess there's some revolutionary potential, and it is really funny to watch like Wall Street hedge fund managers go on CNBC and fucking melt down.
Yeah, like this isn't funny.
This isn't fair. Manipulating the stock market. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
like you do, you fucking
Like I support that,
Criminals.
but it can't be like. I
Yeah.
mean, who gives a shit? It's fine. It's funny. It's a thing that you did. That's great. But is it really? I mean, it's not necessarily like.
I feel like if you're playing within the bounds of the accepted system, it can't, by definition, is not
Yeah,
revolutionary.
it can't be revolutionary because you're using stocks to fuck with people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like when people are like, "Oh, like a revolution." It's like a revolutionary vote. Like it's that's not a thing, you
Yeah.
know. Like
Yeah.
if you're doing revolution, you're doing something outside of the prescribed system.
Yeah. That's
Not
There are
like-
certainly aspects. There are aspects of it that are cool, but like all that energy could be put into doing something actually cool. And like you read some of these stories where some guy is like my dad lost his business and his house during the housing crisis because of hedge funds or like whatever, and he was never the same, and I'm putting in all my money and this for you, dad. That's but that could be energy put into actually like fixing things instead of doing this. But also so many people, like, this isn't a revolution, in part because it's still like they're just levels of rich people. You got the hedge fund managers over here,
Yeah.
and then you got all these other people who literally they got this stock up. They're gonna pull their money, be rich, and thankfully, like more of them got to be rich. There's gonna be a ton of people who are gonna buy in late or didn't buy in at the right time and are gonna lose a ton of money.
Yeah.
And it's like a strategy. So on TikTok, there's these kids, and sometimes not kids, being like, "Oh, hey, did you get into the stock? It's gonna go to the moon. It's gonna be so high." And then it will for like a day, and then they'll sell, and then it'll tank, and everybody else will lose their money.
Further proving that it's a pyramid
horrifying.
scheme.
yeah.
Maybe
Yep.
the thing that is like the most fascinating. Sorry, I'm back to TikTok because like it's my current obsession. But the thing that is like the most like of like I don't know, just like head game about TikTok is like how much is fake. And I feel like this is one of the big issues of like maybe like life right now or like life on the internet right now is you're like, because even when you're saying like okay, so maybe that person's dad lost their house to the hedge fund, maybe,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh.
and maybe that's just like a post that gets you like a lot. Because like I'm telling you, I've seen people who are on there posting and they're posting like video of someone and they're like, this person's gonna die. Like if you don't send me if you don't send money to like my Venmo or whatever, or like look at this dog has cancer. I'm like, your dog looks fine, you know? And it's like it's just this account that just has pictures of this dog and like a link to like their PayPal. And they'll get like 2 million likes on this thing because people are like, oh my God, this poor sick dog would send $20 to like help this poor sick dog. And I'm like, so much of this is like not even sort of real. Like they're just like people.
respect
So it's
the
like,
grift,
yeah,
though.
this
I
total
was just
shell
gonna
game.
say.
You gotta
I was
respect
looking
the
at
grift.
you. I was like, that's a grift, baby.
That's a grift
That's
and a half right there. I gotta get in on that shit. I think I have some cancerous cats kicking around here.
I was like, Josh got
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure has brain damage. So like,
Just show Josh running in circles and be like, he ain't
Like,
gonna
he's-
make it to tomorrow.
yeah, he can't leave the room.
And you just start all these little accounts for them, and then you talk in their voice, you know. Then you write the little comments as if they are the cat themselves.
This is how you
This
go
is
viral.
like this is literally how I spend my days. So I just put a phone in front of me, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
money, please.
Exactly. And then people will send you money. People on the internet will send you money.
Josh, stop! You're gonna die soon. Guys, we need money.
What's funny about like
Jesus Christ.
it's
Sorry.
okay, he's fine. It's fine. There'll be a little bit of background noise. People gotta. It's got a lived-in feel.
It's gonna have some water now. There we
You
go.
want to help us deafen our background noise? Patreon.com/this is false. Make sure to like and subscribe.
Build us a studio.
Let us have some fucking equipment, please.
Speaking of internet money,
Yes. So the Doge, and then we'll move on.
Oh
from
yeah.
there.
no, I meant the Patreon.
Oh,
Who
the
cares
Patreon.
Oh
about-
right,
Okay,
that too.
So all that happened is this joke, 4chan joke cryptocurrency that was created a billion years ago. That's worth less than a cent normally. People started being like, "Hey, like let's all buy in and like show the hedge funds that we support cryptocurrencies." And then people did, and some people made a lot of money because people had FOMO about the GameStop stuff, and then a ton of other people lost a lot of money.
Oh no.
So everybody stop buying stocks, just save up your money, pay down your debts, and what little money we have we can like collectively put together to try and help
Well,
each
No,
other.
it's like
But
it's like buying lottery tickets. Like it's I
Mhm.
don't know. I don't
It
know.
is,
Like it
yeah.
could work for you, it could totally work out for you, but it also probably will not.
yeah, and it's like there's so much complexities. Like there's things called dividends where if you have a stock, people will pay you a little bit and stuff like that. But like those are rare and they're like there's so much to learn. So don't just like the people who are gambling, like there's these hedge funds people who read all like now they're reading Wall Street bets to make sure they don't get screwed over. So the game is entirely rigged against you. People have computers and algorithms set
Yeah.
up to buy and sell for them based on the patterns. So like as an individual, the only reason these people were somewhat successful is because there were so many of them. And sure,
Right.
if you keep that momentum going, you can maintain some sort of like thing like this. But that's not going to happen. All these people are splitting off into little groups. Wall
Yeah.
Street bets is probably going to get shut down. It's already been cracked down on pretty heavily. So you're not going to be able to maintain that momentum. And now that it's so huge, there's going to be like 10 different thousands of people pulling you in 10,000 different ways. So you're not going to have that
Yeah.
same momentum. This is like the
No.
the fracturing of any communist group that has ever existed. Essentially, it's like you
I
start
was
out as
gonna
one
say
mass.
Burning Man, but yeah, same.
Burning
Mhm.
Man.
Basically the same thing.
Doesn't it make more sense for you to just save up your money, fuck the debts, fake your own death, and then start a commune,
There's the grift I'm in
Oh.
for.
right?
Yep.
What?
Like,
Why would you
We're
fake your own
already on the-
death
we're
after
already-
paying
Yeah,
off
how
your
does
debt?
Through a couple
no,
steps
no, no.
back.
Fuck
the
your debts. Fuck your
advantage?
debts.
Oh.
Don't
Yeah,
pay
don't
your
pay
debts.
those.
Okay.
Don't pay your
Don't pay
debts.
the
Those are
debts.
fake too.
Those are that's all fake. Money's not even real.
Yeah, no.
Like
it's
just
not.
don't just fake
Debt
your own
isn't
death.
real. That isn't real. The government
That's
gave
not
me
even a
money
thing.
to do school.
Yeah.
Like they should have just fucking done. I'm not
Exactly.
paying that debt back.
That's
Insolvent.
literally the reason why I'm not paying my debt back. Cause I'm like, education should be free.
Yeah.
Fuck you. And then
Yeah.
people are like, oh, you're
I
so
earned
edgy.
it. I earned it. Eat a dick.
Yeah,
Hey,
Getting it back.
exactly.
after 15 years,
I'm now a
after
more
15 years, it'll
productive
just go
person
away.
for you. Fuck you. I'm not paying you for being a more productive person for you. Sorry.
Oh,
I'm gonna
damn.
go off.
Yeah.
So speaking of TikTok, that's what we
Sure.
were talking about it at some point.
It's a shit segue.
One of the things that I've really noticed about the kids these days is that they're really good at shit that we used to have to go to school for.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
there's this one guy. He's 17 years old, and I forget his name. Maybe I'll put it in the show notes if I can find him. And he like makes these. He's making these 1-minute films, and stitching them together to make a large film.
Really?
He's filming it all
What?
on his goddamn phone, and with like video editing software, and they're fucking awesome.
Really?
It's like they're so good.
Oh.
It's like and this kid's 17 years old and he's just been fucking around with what he can find in open source and on TikTok.
Just killing it.
It's this whole story about this like there's this like happy face emoji that is almost like a Google Home but way more intelligent
Yeah.
and that can administer medication to him and all this other shit. It's like this dystopian future sort
like
of
some
thing.
Black Mirror shit.
It is, and it's really good. And it's like this kid's just been doing this for a year as a hobby, and he's already better than like.
I want
he's
to
like
see
better
that.
than Michael Bay, but not quite at the level of James Cameron. You know what
Oh,
I'm
that's
saying?
a callback.
Nobody is though. Nobody is.
Nobody
so
is.
It doesn't matter.
He
Yeah.
invented his own camera.
Oh my god, we can't get back on fucking
He invented
James
his own
Cameron.
camera.
again.
He's like, this technology doesn't exist, so I'm just going to make it. Come on.
I'm not gonna lie, like
Um,
James Cameron feels like such a normie, like middle of the bell curve choice for you, Travis. Like I would have expected you, like if you were gonna talk about a filmmaker I would have thought it was gonna be like Lars von Trier or something was gonna be like who you were like, oh my gosh, but
I
then you're
don't
like,
even know who
okay,
that
James
is.
Cameron.
Just that's why you're supposed to be like, oh yeah, I love that person, so that it's
Yes,
like, you're
I
like,
totally know who that is.
be like, that was my second choice, but
Listen, when it comes to movies, like, I'm not a movie guy, really. I like TV shows a lot, because they actually, like, have character development that lasts longer than a couple hours, but,
that's the true.
yeah, but I don't know, I'm a big fan of the Coen brothers. Is that too normie? It's
It
pretty
is.
normie.
No,
It's
yeah,
pretty
They're
normie at this
great, though,
point,
come
yeah.
on.
I mean, I don't really
Yeah,
understand.
I mean, The Big Lebowski, of course.
yeah. The Big Lebowski's where it's at. Who are the other
Burn After
brothers?
Reading,
There's the other brothers that I like.
the
Fargo.
Softy brothers.
No, they make the. Fuck. Wow.
Softy brothers are good, too.
No, they're the brothers that both kind of look the same, and they make all of the.
Most brothers.
Like they share a lot of genetic material,
I
and
know.
also
You know what
They
that
made-
reminds me of? The Matrix
They made
folks.
the-
The which.
It was called Creep or something. They made that. They make.
Oh.
You know what? I'll just.
I don't know. It's gone. This is.
It's fine. This isn't.
The point is,
podcast
what I
material.
was saying is,
yeah.
That- TikTok film. There's these TikTok filmmakers, and I'm not gonna sit here and suggest that the most popular stuff on TikTok is this, or that it's like anywhere close to a lot of the stuff on TikTok. But every once in a while, I'll come across this like literal child who is like really fucking talented at something.
Yeah.
And like, as someone, like, I mean, even like Marxists, even like, there's like these little fucking high school Marxists that understand Marxist theory better than I do, and I've gone to school for 15 years for it.
Yeah.
And it's like, how is this happening? And this is what it feels like. This is what it feels like to be old.
Yeah, it is.
I don't
I'm not
understand how they learn so
Well-
I'm not
quickly,
in
these
touch
kids.
with anything anymore. Like
Yeah.
I don't.
This
I'm
is
just
how it-
fucking floating through life, being like, what? Like, I'm
This is
not-
how
I
it
don't
feels
know
to be
anything.
old and unfulfilled.
Yeah.
Yeah, but speaking of filmmakers,
Oh yeah, we know
this is the
one.
longest.
Right.
So we didn't introduce you up the top, and now it's been 40 minutes. This is awkward.
Classic.
Great
TIF.
segue, by the way.
I'll introduce you in the intro. It's fine. So Liz Singh, Montreal filmmaker. I'll let you define yourself. I know that you are a
Ooh.
filmmaker, but you probably have a lot more things going on. So who
Or
are
a lot
you?
less. I mean, I've made a film. I don't know if that
That makes
a
you a
person
filmmaker.
It's a
Yeah, it's
That's
like
infinite.
one.
It really
times
does.
more
Yeah,
films
you
than I've
literally
made.
made a film.
So I guess
Same.
like, I do that, but I spend most of my time. I coordinate a street work program, and that is probably the bulk of like my time. It's supposed to be 34 hours a week, but it feels more like 50 to 60 hours a week.
Right.
Yeah.
I spend on that. And then in between, like I do these like writing and film projects. I was gonna say, and I hang out in Montreal, but I really don't anymore. I hang out in my apartment in Montreal because you can't go any. In fact, it's 45 minutes past curfew.
Yeah.
So
Oh right.
Yep.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't leave the house.
Yeah.
I leave the house.
Yeah.
So that's
Wow.
a trip.
You can like walk a dog though, right? Isn't that a thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could walk a dog.
So
Yeah,
if you
an
like
option.
put a little like papered dog, like painted one and put it on a stick and then walked outside, you're like, yeah. Well,
People tried. There was a couple that tried it where like one of them wore the dog collar and the other person walked them, and
That's amazing.
yeah,
What? He's
Uh,
doing shit.
yep, and they
he
definitely
doesn't
got
shit in the
ticketed.
house.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
So-
Montreal.
No getting around it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we
Okay, but
wrote-
hold on. Isn't that just a regular Montreal thing? Like, I thought that was something totally
I was
else.
gonna say
I didn't know that was.
only in the park on Sundays.
Honestly, we are the kinkiest city. I feel like that is part of the Montreal.
You guys
vibe.
do have like the best sex clubs. I do. I'm just wow, crickets.
I haven't been to a Montreal one, so I don't know. I can't
Oh,
speak
man.
to that.
Honestly, like my
That's
my
stuck
life
for a
is
while.
so- I've been to 0 sex clubs in Montreal, but I've been to very few regular clubs. I'm just not very popular.
Me either, obviously, because I just go to sex clubs or something. Apparently, I've only been to
I
like
mean,
two there.
I remember having like a conversation with a friend of mine when I first moved back here from LA, and like she was like, I don't know, I was feeling really frustrated about like the dating scene, and then like next thing I knew, she was like telling me about like a fivesome she had just been in, and I was like, this is not This
It's
is
just an
not
orgy
helping.
at that
I just,
point.
Yeah, I was
yeah.
gonna say, at what quantity does it just become an orgy?
I think
Is it
more than
anything
4.
past 3 or
I think
a
more
4?
than 4. You can say
Foursome is
foursome.
still like easy to
It's
say.
like
Yeah.
fivesome isn't really a word,
No.
Yeah.
right? Like that's just. I think of orgy as
Quintet.
like more like. No, like almost like unlimited. Like an orgy would be like there's so many bodies around. Like I'm just like not even counting anymore. You know, there's just like
Yeah, I think you should call 4 a 4G.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like
What are this
that.
phones now? Like,
I feel like with 5, there's just gonna be like a sentinel tower in the middle. Someone just standing there watching the other
Yeah, you
4
got the
go at it.
watcher. Yeah.
You'd be
Well, I know like one
yeah,
person like
you
takes
know.
breaks. That was part of the I don't know.
It's gonna be
Structure?
like the voyeur person who just wants to like get all fucking weird and breathy.
I do
while
like
the
the
other
idea
ones-
of breaks though. As a lazy man,
Or just like leave sometimes. Yeah, like I'm like
Yeah.
I just want to leave. Sometimes.
Like I
I need a
need
break.
I need to
Yeah,
get to that
sandwich.
gallon jug of water at some
Get a
point.
snack, you
Yeah.
know, like go watch some TV, come back. Like I don't know.
Also, I feel
How
like
tawdry.
proper orgy etiquette. There should be a sandwich tray, right? Like, are we all? There needs to be food. If
like
you're
on the
gonna-
set of a movie.
Some of us are
Yeah.
gluten free, so you
Well,
know.
then we need to have options. Like we need to have inclusive options.
On a
You gotta
podcast
take care of your
famous for its
cast.
tangents, we are setting records on this one. So,
Okay, you're right. We are. We
so
know
the
a person that
reason
makes
we-
a movie.
The reason we brought Liz onto the podcast
Right.
today
Right.
was to 50 minutes into an hour-long podcast start talking about the movie that she made.
Is that why you brought me? I really didn't know.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of envisioned it going like this because, like, really, the reason I brought you on was because I find your social media presence to be really hilarious. Like, you're one of the few
Thank you.
people on Facebook who like manages to make me laugh almost every day. So I'm like, she's probably really great to talk to. She could
That's
probably be
perfect.
on there. But yeah, we should talk about your movie, get people to watch it. You know?
Yeah, my movie. It's our movie. You know, I made it with a bunch. I didn't just do that by myself. I'm not as good as the TikTok hits, so I need a whole bunch of people to help me when I try to make movies. But it was called The Lower Plateau. We shot it in 2017. We released it in 2018. It lives on YouTube now as of like a year ago. It's about life in the before time. You know,
Mhm.
things were good. We didn't know how good we had it. But about a depressed artist who had no idea how bad things were about to get. But it's about a depressed artist in Montreal trying to decide if she should move to Toronto, as you know, so many of us do.
Yeah.
So
I think
Yeah.
what I really like, there's a few things about the sort of technical stuff that you did that I found really, really interesting. But the sort of general premise of a struggling artist I mean, Montreal's not a small city, but I feel like Anglo Montreal is a small city.
Right.
Yeah, and like it feels like a story about Windsor. Like it really does feel like that. And when I was in the Lower Plateau, I've been there a few times on tours and just with friends, and I've hung out there for like a week or two at a time. And like it feels like Windsor. It has this. It's way more beautiful than Windsor. But like it has the people, at least the Anglos that I talk to, because I don't speak any French. It has like this sort of Windsor kind of feel to it. Like people hanging out at like Barfly, which is the bar that you feature quite a bit in the film. Like I've been to Barfly a few times, and it feels so much like a Windsor bar, you know, and just it's small. There's great bands playing. It's like this weird place. Everybody seems to know each other, and like it's a really cool like spot. And the whole Lower Plateau has that feel to it.
Yeah.
And so I guess just I really like when I saw it in the film festival, the Windsor Film Festival a couple of years ago. It really hit me because it was very. It just felt like the main character was just me trying to decide whether I should just give up and go to Toronto, you know, like, which is the makings of a good movie when it's relatable, you know.
That makes me like I'm the only person here who hasn't seen it, and that really, literally just sold it to me.
Yeah.
Like, I want to watch that.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
Really good. So congrats on making a good movie.
Thank you. That's what we were going for.
So I know that Mo had some questions, right? Is that how you were
Yeah,
doing?
I got a couple actually.
Yeah, I love questions.
Yeah, I got a couple. Sorry, I was just waiting for the internet to clear. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yep.
I can hear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're good.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry, lag. Yeah, I had a couple. First of all, my favorite line was like 2/3 into the movie, you're having a conversation, or the main character is having a conversation with their friend, and the friend is like, "Oh, I'm such a cliche," and the character's like, you're my cliche," or something like that. That's
Yeah.
so nice. That was a nice line. I'm gonna use it. It's like, "You're my cliche," or "You're my favorite. You're my best cliche." But I had a bunch of questions as someone who wanted to make a movie, and I'm in year 5 of the 8-year gap in which it will take for me to make this movie.
Uh-huh.
But like, so you released it with Dapenair Films, which I've never heard of until I watched your movie, which was cool. Are they like an indie kind of
That's
group?
just what we call ourselves. That's just our name for
That's
our little company. Yeah.
that's so cool. Okay, so I have this deep fascination with Dapeners. I'm really into them.
Okay.
I think they're the coolest thing ever. So I'm really glad that was a thing. Um, what did this process look like for you? Like, I did read a little bit about how this had been like a long-term project. Like, what?
I mean, like all films are all feature films are long-term projects. Like I think that that's
Mhm.
one of the like we had so many people like as we were working on this, like we'd bump into people and be like, "Oh, we're working on this movie," and they'd be like, "Oh, like the same one," and we'd be like, "Yeah, like it actually takes like a little bit of time to get one of these done." But yeah, like I went to film school, so I did like go that route. Pros and cons. um, and I lived and I worked out in California for a little bit, which was like really like educational. But I was not enough of a hustler to make it in LA. So I failed out of Los Angeles and wound up back in Canada.
Most people do.
Yeah.
Yeah, most people do.
LA is overrated.
It's really warm. It is really warm. But no, but I remember having this moment like right before I left where I was talking to one of my professors and I was like, yeah, like I know, like I guess because he's like, I think you should go back to Montreal. I think you've always wanted to go back to Montreal. You've never really wanted to be here. And I was like, yeah, but like, like if I climb up on the roof of my building, like I can see the Hollywood sign. And he looks at me and he's like, yeah, Liz, but it's a lie. And I was like, oh,
Damn.
okay. Like he's like, you're no closer to that sign than you would be if you were in Montreal. And I'm like,
Dang. Mask
Fuck.
off. That's harsh though.
It is.
Sometimes
LA
you need
is
it.
harsh.
Yeah.
LA is harsh. Yeah, don't go to LA if you're not into harsh because like it's just the cold hard truth. So I came
Jeez.
back. I came back and I was like, okay, like, I'm gonna come back to Montreal. I'm gonna bartend. And I was like so sad. I was like so because I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm just gonna turn up back in Montreal after like doing this degree, no closer to my goals. No like nothing to show for it. I bartended for a while. I kept trying to like get free work. I would offer myself anybody at all who like even halfway worked in film. I'd be like, I'll come work for you for free. I got so many offers to work in porn. There's a big porn scene in Montreal. And like, it's like nothing against porn, but I'm just like I went to school, like I did this whole thing, like
Yeah, I mean,
that's
like,
not
you
really what they
probably
taught
weren't
us.
looking to do porn in the
It's
first
just like
place.
I think I would have focused. I think I would have taken different classes.
Yeah,
Like if
exactly.
that had been, I would have focused on a different skill set. Like maybe not so much in like editing or like cinematography.
Yeah, and more in
maybe
like
more on,
rim jobs.
yeah, I was gonna say like guttural moans. Like just
Yeah.
really good like vocalizing. No, I think porn is like. I mean, I don't want to like. I was gonna say there's a lot of like it's mostly natural talent, but like everything is a skill. So, but no, that wasn't really my focus. So I was working on different things, and then like I met a guy like as one does, and he was a producer, and it was so perfect, right? Like came into the bar that I worked at, and like he was like, oh, I know all these people, I can help you like make this project, da da da. And at the time, I was like trying to do this like thriller thing, and he was like, it's just that like we can make this movie together, but we also like I also think that we should sleep together. And I was like, I don't know about that. Like I don't.
Fuck.
I don't know. Like it just seems like it might kind of get messy. So anyway, whatever. I
This
made
kind of
bad
feels
choices
like I knew
in
it was
life.
coming.
Yeah. Well, I
Bad
thought what
choices
you
in
meant.
life and
I thought you were
business.
seeing the guy and then you found out he was a producer,
No.
not like.
We like met because my interest in him was primary. I was like, oh my gosh, like all this film stuff, like that's so cool. Like you've got
Yeah.
like you're like tied into the industry. Anyway, so he ghosted
Yeah.
me, naturally, and I cut my hair off and went to India because that's what
That's what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you do. And while I was in India, I wrote this script for this movie that was about like, I don't know, it was about like someone who similarly kind of felt like at the end of their rope and just like, what do I do? Like, is it done? Like, should I just like give up now and like stop doing the thing? Which I think is probably like a really good question to ask yourself, like as an artist in your mid-30s.
100%.
Just ask yourself every day, just every
Start
day
a
is today.
podcast. I don't know what you're talking about. Just start a podcast. It'll work out fine.
Yeah, everything will be fine.
Yeah.
And
it'll
get a
be fine.
Patreon,
Music
fund
career.
it, it'll work.
I mean, like
PhD.
now,
I'm not a painter.
now I
Fuck
feel
it.
like on the other side of it, I feel like so good. Like I'm so glad I did it. Like, so I came back from India like with this script, and I was like, you know, like I wrote this thing based on like, because before I used to like pick projects and be like, what would be a good story. Whereas like this time I was like, what do I have? Like, what do I know that I have? And I've been bartending for however many years. It's like, I know a bunch of comics. I know a bunch of like out of work musicians. I know a bunch of bar owners. So let me just like write a story that's like in that world. That's like just failed comedians, failed musicians, and like, and you know, dive bars. And like came back and like talked some friends into doing it. And like, we didn't have any money. I had like a bit of money saved up from bartending. That was like most of what went into it, and like like waitressing money, and like took out a small bank loan, and it was not responsibly financed. It was not the way that they tell you. This is not how you should do this, approach this process at all. But yeah, and we just like took 3 weeks off work and shot a feature film. So, and if you ever want, like, if you're ever interested in that what that process looks like, it's a lot of spreadsheets. And I can show you, it's meticulous planning to like figure out like, what do I think I need? How do I cut that in half? How do I cut that in half again? How can we, find a cheaper way to do it?
I feel like the resourcefulness involved or required for indie filmmaking is like unparalleled.
Yeah, in the arts, I think that's probably true.
In the
Yeah.
in the arts,
Yeah.
like you're
Yeah.
never gonna find such a group of like artful dodgers as you will in the arts.
Grifters, if you will.
Yes.
Because it's so expensive as an art. Like it's so like so many times in the last few years, I've like asked myself, like, why didn't I choose something cheaper? Like, like you can become a poet, and it's free every time you do it. It's free.
Yeah.
And there's no like ethics of like labor. No one's in physical danger. You can do it any time of day or night. But like, film is an expensive art to practice,
For sure.
especially if you want to pay people, and we did want to pay people. So
Yeah, musicians have like they're sort of in between those, I guess.
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, but now in 2021, anyone can make a solid, like a really good sounding. If you have the skills to do it, it doesn't cost a lot of money to make something
Yeah.
that sounds really good now. So like,
Yeah.
even that's changed, and maybe filmmaking is in some ways too, but it still requires way more people. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah.
with me, I can pick up a piece of garbage from my studio and paint on it, and someone might want to buy it, and it's like it's not going to cost me a huge amount of money. Like I can go home and paint on whatever substrate that I have, but I can't. If you're a filmmaker, like there's so much equipment and
Yeah.
resources that you need. Like I just can't. Man, if I had
Yeah.
that much involvement, like that much capital or things like that involved in my art, I'd be so much more like tired all the time.
Yeah.
I remember you.
I am tired all the time.
Yeah, like I get it. I get it.
So I remember you saying, I think it was almost definitely at the film festival, where they asked you there if it was autobiographical, and you said sort of, and that it definitely was inspired by things that had happened in your life, and that you'd swapped out a musician for other forms of art or something. So like so do you still feel that now that you've like done it? You're like, okay, now I've stayed in Montreal. I've done the thing. Do you still feel like that's your life, or do you feel like you've moved on to a different phase of it now?
Like Jane, I mean, it's definitely not. So I will say, like, so Deep in Our Films got a bit of grant money, which is like a big turning point for us really recently. So that's really changed my feeling about a lot of things, because like that feels like external validation and like
Yeah.
other people's money. Like,
Yeah.
which
That
is
always
a
helps.
Yeah, which is a fun feeling. But I think there's definitely like, I don't know, but there's so many like, because I feel like that feeling is like, it's like bigger than that. It's just like the feeling of self-doubt that comes from like, you've got this like list in your head of like things that like life is supposed to be like, or you're supposed to have done or like achieved, or like that other people are doing or achieving, and like by a certain age or like at a certain point in your life, or like an idea of like what it means to be an adult. And like I think if you're like a weirdo, that never really goes away.
100%.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That hits.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So,
This was my other. This was
Oh, yeah,
definitely
go
my
ahead.
other. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tro.
no, go ahead, Mo.
No, you go ahead.
All right. So, what I was gonna
Okay.
say,
This was kind of. Wait.
Mogo,
The delays. The
Mo,
delays
do
keep
it.
getting up.
Mo,
No,
do
no,
it.
no, no, no.
No, no,
Travis,
Mo, you're
please,
doing
please.
it.
No, no, got
Shut your
it.
fucking mouth and do it.
Fine, fine. Okay, fine. I'm just gonna wait a second to make sure.
Right.
Okay, so I just wanted to jump off that point because that's one of the feelings I got throughout this movie, which is being in my very late 20s, it's a growing feeling of dread that hits you as soon as you turn like 25, or like you said, graduate, or finish high school, even like you said, like then college or university or whatever. You start feeling it right away, where you're just like, I need to figure out my life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's so many conversations I have with friends who like either finished like their undergrad or their masters and are just like, they thought, and that was it. And then there's nothing next, because like society sucks and it puts so much pressure on you to just immediately have something figured out by then.
Yeah.
Which most of the people I know in their 30s, they figure their stuff out in their 30s, as most people do. There's
do?
not this. Yeah, not everybody
I'm
gets to be
burning.
a 16.
This is
I'm
awkward.
burning through those 30s, and I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, I'm running out of time to figure my shit
I
out.
was just
Okay.
gonna say that shit
But
doesn't go
I'm
away.
37 this year.
Yeah,
It's getting late
hard-
in the
Well,
30s.
Or
but
the same.
but the thing that maybe I might put on you folks that isn't true is that like you folks actually are well adjusted relatively to existing, just existing.
I was gonna
Like,
say.
we're all, the term vibing. Like, I think like folks manage to vibe, whereas like everybody who is a lot younger that I know is just like trapped in this loop where they're constantly pushing themselves to like make all these things happen. But in reality, like, you just gotta live sometimes. You can't put so much pressure to be like, and like I do think TikTok and other stuff helps with this, or like contributes to this, because like 99% of people are not going to be a bunch of 16-year-old millionaires who bought a house and live in a house together and have a bunch of drama.
Right.
Like, that's not life. Life is kind of hard, sort of, most of the times, even if you get some of the goal, or you accomplish some of the goals or things that you set for yourself, or that society sets for yourself. So like, I that's what I really liked about it, is because like you don't see this in media often. I think I see it more now in like TV and shows and such, and movies, but that's not usually what you're consuming. You're consuming people who end up having a happy life at the end of things, or like there's a nice conclusion, and
Right.
life doesn't usually come with nice conclusions.
That's true.
So yeah, I really appreciated that like this was a movie that actually kind of showed that. And it's just like, yeah, shit happens and you make it through, and sometimes it kind of sucks.
Yeah. I can't take like all of the credit for that. So this movie was like really heavily influenced by this genre called mumblecore, which is sort of like very much like about that. It's about kind of like messy characters like living very normal lives. And like it's like a little bit of like a almost like a take on like the like French New Wave, like this idea of like film like not being about like glamour or fantasy, but about just like depicting like life kind of as it is, kind of a little bit ugly. And like so I wasn't sure, Ev, if like earlier if the brothers you were thinking about were the Duplass brothers.
Thank
but
you. Mark Duplass.
the
Jesus.
Duplass brothers like a huge influence
Yeah.
on this movie.
Thank you.
they're really amazing, and that's part of what they do, is like they tell these stories that are like, like Mark Duplass like talks a lot about just like appreciating like the ordinary,
They're
and like
real.
appreciating ordinary people. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Fuck.
Yeah, highly recommend all of their stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I have never seen a bad Duplass brothers movie ever. Not
No.
one.
sure
But
that I've
but
seen
it's a
any.
I've never
different
seen
that.
thing though. Like
It is.
I think
It's
that if
entirely.
if you're someone who's going to the movies wanting Transformers, you're gonna watch Puffy Chair and be like, "What the fuck was that?"
Yeah, I just
Like,
wasted my time.
yeah, it's depressing, it's messy, it's like pointless. Like,
Yeah,
you can't really like, what are they talking about? Like, what was the plot of that movie? You know,
exactly.
but some people really appreciate that because they're like, yeah, life is like that. You know,
Their movies are so beautiful. They're
Mhm.
like
so beautiful.
ordinary, beautiful,
Yeah,
and really contemplative about the ordinary.
Yeah, I mean,
totally.
I think that's with the Lower Plateau. It really made me think about that ordinary shit and like what's actually important too, right? Because that scene with I'm sorry, I forget her Jane's best friend's name, Mari, is it?
Mari. Yeah.
When Mari you know, flags her down at the bus station and is like, "Yo, you should just fucking stay. Like, what are you doing? You're not really going to Toronto. That's not happening."
Yeah.
Spoilers. Sorry, Ev.
That's
Um,
okay. I'm
but
so
like,
pumped to watch this.
but that struck me as like as a very real moment, you know, in the sense that like, because I think if I were to say, you know, and I have said this actually, was Montreal was the place I was gonna go. I had someone basically do that. I had my apartment packed. I was
Uh-huh.
moving either way, and this friend was like, "Yo, you're not really going to Montreal. There's what are you gonna do there? Like, yeah, it's a beautiful city, but after you've been there for a month or two and you don't speak French, like, you're not gonna get a job. You know,
Hmm.
you're gonna
There is
struggle."
a there is a meme, I don't know if you've seen it, but that says moving to Montreal won't fill the void.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah, but
basically what
that's
they said. That's
Yeah,
because I was running away from a breakup and you know all that kind of stuff, and they were like,
Yeah.
"You love this city, stay here and make it work." And I was like, "Yeah, okay."
changing your location never solves problems unless the problem is
Literally.
the weather.
Yeah.
well, okay. Okay, I'm gonna have to disagree with y'all there.
Okay,
Uh,
but also I've totally
completely and
changed
entirely.
locations to avoid things like a million
Oh
times in
yeah,
my
yeah,
life.
and I'll probably do it. You
Yeah.
know, talking a big game here, but
Yeah,
you
I'm
know,
probably gonna. I've considered moving to Montreal because I was like, life sucks here.
yeah.
I was like, no.
I mean, come to Montreal. Yeah, come check it out.
Listen.
I
Okay, look.
periodically think
What's
about
how
moving
do you
back
say
to
this is
Windsor.
false in French? We'll just do a Montreal-based podcast.
I
Can
think
we
about
just?
moving back to Windsor all the time, honestly.
Ooh, come drink some Fago with us. We'll make it happen.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah.
But one of the things too, like you keep saying that how like you went to Los Angeles and like you tried to do that thing there, and it's reminding me a lot. Ev and I have been watching this show, which I know you're probably both very familiar with. It's not like it's unpopular, but Letterkenny, about it like
Yeah.
I've
never
never seen
never
Letterkenny.
see it. It's a comedy sketch show more or less that started out as that, and it sort of evolved into a series. But it's on Crave, and
Mhm.
it's about this guy from Listowel, Ontario, who's like who went to Los Angeles. You know, he tried to do the whole thing there. It didn't work out, and then he said, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna go home." And I'm gonna write stories about my hometown, about my experience growing up, and it
Yeah.
blew up into this huge thing, you know, where they're now, you know, they like all of their videos on YouTube get like millions and millions and millions of views from people not just in Canada but like outside of Canada, and it speaks to this sort of like I think what's happening is that that model of having to go to Los Angeles or New York is fading away because like we don't need to do that now. People like the way the culture works, it's everything is so fractured. Everything has an
Yeah.
audience of millions that you can do anything from anywhere now.
And the things are a little bit more accessible too. Like you can. There's so
Yeah.
many more people with iPhones and shit.
So do you feel that do you feel that that resonates with you? Is that sort of, you know?
Yeah, I think it depends. Like, I think a lot about that year that the year of Moonlight versus La La Land.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ooh.
that was like a really interesting moment because I think you can make Moonlight anywhere.
Yeah.
And I think that La La Land, like when you want to do like large scale productions like that, that require like an enormous amount of equipment and resources, and not that Moonlight doesn't, like, not that there's not all kinds of talent, but it's different. Like, just the scale of it is completely different. You know, the size of the cast and everything is completely different. So I think if you want to do those like big things, like LA is the place to be. Like LA is like where it makes sense to be. Like everyone is like gathered there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to make, and that was hard for me too, because like for me, like moving back to Canada, especially like after having worked in LA, was like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, can you even, like, you know, what can I even do here? Like, do I have to like get back? And like, it's almost like the longer I'm not in LA, the less I feel like I have to get back to it, because I'm just like, oh right, like I can do, if you want to be part of the industry, like maybe you've got to like be in LA if you want to like succeed in the industry. But if you want to just like make good movies, you can do that absolutely anywhere on earth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's like, yeah, like increasingly true, like with the technology and stuff. And it's like, technology is not all of it. Like, I think you also have to have something like compelling to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, the technology means that you can say it from just about anywhere.
Mhm.
I used to work. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I worked for like the year that I was working in LA, like I was working as what's called like a development executive, which is like on paper my dream job, but it was like actually like really stressful. So it's like you are trying to develop like ideas for TV shows and movies, like with a production company. I worked for a company where I just had very, very different tastes than my boss, which was really challenging. But one of the things I got from that, so like I used to like, you know, and I did a ton of internships when I was out there. Like, so sometimes I'm reading like as many as like 2, 3 scripts a day, right? Like I'm seeing like what people are making. And the thing that I learned about Hollywood is that like you need to have already made something good. You need to basically, and the same thing I will say, I think is true for getting funding in Canada to do
Oh yeah,
films.
definitely with
Um,
musicians too.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like once you barely need them anymore,
Mhm.
like literally the film that we got a grant for, we had already shot 2/3 of it by the
Yeah.
time the Canadian government like gave us funding for it. We had a plan to do it for a tenth of the budget that we pitched them because we were just like, we can't count on people, and that's when people will step up to help you. And the same thing is true of Hollywood. Like if you make something good enough, doesn't matter where you are in the world, Hollywood will come find you.
Yeah.
And if you're in Hollywood and you can't make something good enough, it will not matter that you were physically in Los Angeles.
Yeah. It's funny too because that brings up a really important class element to all of this stuff too, right? That
Yeah.
like if you're broke, you aren't getting in that door, you know? Like, and it's the same thing with
Yeah.
musicians, and I can speak to that world because I've applied for those like factor grants and things like that. That
Yeah.
it's like, and I've had friends that have who are some of the most talented people I know, and they don't get them because they don't have the initial startup money to make a really great
Yeah.
record. So their second record is funded by Factor.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
it's a real problem I think with arts funding and how it's distributed in this country for sure.
Yeah, there's not really like a lot of opportunities. I mean, the film industry in class, we could talk for a long time about like the different kinds of gatekeeping that happen there because it really is like it's really incredible how concentrated that power is and like how much like both like class and kind of like legacy, like so in terms of like all like family members or whatever were in the industry, like it really gets like held, you know, pretty tightly, which makes sense. It's an awesome job, you know. If people are gonna hold on to having it, and like a powerful thing, right? Like who controls the media, who controls like, you know, the images that are out there. But it's really, really tough. Like if you are like coming from like a low income background, like there's a lot of like free work that's expected of people. There's a lot of like low paid work. Yeah. And then to be able to like make that whole first film like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty tough.
Yeah, yeah. What was the other thing? So yeah, and I imagine that like I really liked the way that the whole movie is shot in a very interesting way, which I really, and I don't know anything about filmmaking, so I just want to preface that. But I do know that normally when you have dialogue between two characters, you're filming over shoulders and
Mhm.
and doing that whole thing, and you have like that sort of back and forth that requires you probably to film everything a million times, right? Where
Yeah.
and that's when it gets expensive.
Yeah.
And so like maybe it was a cost cutting thing for you, maybe it was a stylistic choice, but either way, I think it worked really, really well. Where you have your characters just sort of inhabit a room, and then the camera almost becomes like another person in the room listening into the conversation rather than having that like back and forth. I thought that was like really interesting stylistic choice if it was in fact a choice. Imagine it did save you money, I'm sure, but like
It
I
definitely
really
saved.
loved that about it.
It definitely saves my. Sorry, Mo. For a second, like you were like leaning out of the frame, and like your shoulder and my shoulder kind of made like one giant shoulder, and it was cool. But
That's funny.
sorry.
So like this.
But yeah, like no, that was definitely something. It definitely saved us money. Because like you say, like not having to do multiple takes. We also didn't use any lights, like any non.
Mhm.
So like we used like lamps and like regular lights, but we didn't like use like big like film lights. And it was for the same reason. It's like cheaper and faster to shoot that way. There's a certain New York filmmaker who I no longer like to refer to, but a lot of his work is shot like
Mhm.
that with like these long And like when he's doing it with like Roger, like Roger Deakins, and like they spend all this money to make it all like beautifully, perfectly lit.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the idea, is like it gives like a bit of like a more natural like a theater kind of feel too.
Right.
Like you can kind of like be in the space, and like the actors are also like just taking their time and like really like responding to each other. So like everything else, like like I was saying, it's kind of like in indie film, like it's like everything is both like a choice and also like a result of just this is what we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, and even the way you did social media, like you really incorporated social media into the movie very, very well, or just like the sort of way that we communicate digitally, I should say, because it's not all just social media, but you have sort of things kind of overlay on the screen. So like one of my favorite, maybe my favorite scene in the movie was when she's sitting with, I want to say Ben, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben.
So Ben is her like friends with benefits like person who she deals weed to, and he's kind of a dumbass, like he's just sort of this weird, he's struggling with his own things, I'm sure, but he's just kind of this guy who just wants to cure his loneliness by having sex, and he's talking, and she picks up her phone and starts scrolling through Instagram, and the Instagram overlays over his face, so you're actually like not paying attention to him.
Awesome.
You're not really paying attention to him, and you're kind of seeing her scroll, and it's like you hear him in the background, but you're also looking at what she's scrolling, which like felt really like that's how if you're having a conversation with someone you don't really want to be there, and you're like scrolling through Instagram.
Yeah.
And you did that several times throughout the movie, so like that was just, I thought that was really like a really cool way to present kind of this ongoing distraction,
Yeah, and that's sort of what I was trying to like get, because like I feel like a lot of time like in film will like you like cut away from the main action to like look at a phone screen, but that's not how we experience like those conversations. And one of the things I think is so interesting about like the way we communicate right now is you can be living two different stories, right? And that's a little bit like what Jane is like. She's sitting with this one guy, but she's like face stalking this totally different dude and having an emotional reaction to like what's going on with this other guy. And like, I don't know if that's ever happened. It's definitely happened to me where I'm like physically with one person, but I'm emotionally reacting to something I'm seeing on my phone, and it's interfering with my ability to like be there in the moment, that's actually happening to me. So yeah, like I think that was like definitely something. I've been spending a lot of time on ADHD TikTok, and have like low-key like self-diagnosed myself, and like
you don't say that. You're coming onto This Is False, and we did an hour of tangents.
Yeah, it's kind of our thing.
Yeah, and like so that's the thing is like I think that it's that's for me like literally like right now, like I mean, God bless them, but I've got a client messaging me, and I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna get to you in a second. It's like we're always doing that, like we're always like trying to keep our focus on what's happening, but then also navigating these like sometimes I have several windows open on my phone, and I'm just like
100%.
You're having 9 different conversations at the same time, and that's a weird feeling too. I hate it.
Yeah,
I actually like, a lot of people are good at it. I'm terrible at it, so I just chuck my phone and leave it, and then my friends get mad at me because I'm just like not responding to them. But it's like
overstimulated.
I can only
really
do
easy.
one at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're only ever. I think that's the thing is that you're only ever actually doing one of them at the time. You know what I mean? You're only actually giving someone, your attention one at a time.
Yeah.
I think multitasking is a myth. It's just like
since
vitamins.
Ever since I got like my first smartphone, my amount of wait a minute, what?
Liz knows what I'm talking about. It's fine.
Ever since I got my first smartphone, my instances of overstimulation, and like I call it like a sensory overload, ever since I got my first smartphone, it's been like ever since I was connected, I get overstimulated so quickly and so frequently.
Yeah,
it's
constant
just,
for me.
Yeah, that's
it hasn't left my hands. Like I when I was in LA, I used to literally fall asleep with my hand like gripped around my phone, so that if it buzzed or if it anything, I'd be able to answer. In LA, if you don't answer something within 24 hours, people get really vexed. You have to like right away get back to people. So
fuck, I couldn't handle that.
Yeah, it's overwhelming, but it's also such a, sometimes it feels like a distraction. Like I'm using it to avoid. So I actually I had Bumble for a while, and I actually deleted Bumble because I realized that I was just compulsively interacting. I was not actually like dating, with any kind of like sensitivity or like awareness of these guys as like people. But it was just like, I just want to chat with someone. I'm just gonna and I was just like messaging, you know what I mean? Like I just have like 14 conversations going, and I'm like, this is not what this is for. Like this.
You're just doing the thing. You're just doing the thing to occupy the hand.
100%. Which is what ADHD TikTok is like. One of the things that it has me thinking about is like, how many things in my life am I doing just as a way to distract or occupy myself?
Yeah.
And I was like, I would have never thought that like Bumble was just one more of those things, but I'm like, Bumble is just one more. I'm like, I'm anxious. I need to fidget with something, and now I'm fidgeting with men on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, when I had Tinder, it was like the swiping. You know, you just
Yeah.
do the swiping, and I'm like, I'm not actually producing anything or like accomplishing anything. I'm just doing the swiping.
It's amazing how these apps and TikTok's the same way. Instagram, Facebook, they're designed to constantly have you just do this. It's almost like playing with a fidget spinner.
Yeah.
But like you're getting more serotonin out of it because you're like watching stuff. Like and TikTok is like that too, because you're scrolling through these 1 minute or 15-second things that are like, oh, that was about this thing. Oh, and this is about something completely different. And oh, that's a teenager dancing. And that's like you're going. It's just like this. It's like a very like representative part of our culture, I think, because it's just like there's just 10,000 things going on at once, and you don't know what to focus on.
But you wonder why there's so many instances of anxiety now, and like maybe it's just that people are talking about it more now. But I really don't think so, because that's what our eyes are constantly looking at, ever-changing things just all the time.
It's also just like a scale of awareness. Like one of my so the editor of our movie, Lily, is more of like, I guess she's like a Gen Zer, you know, she's like 21, and she posted something on Facebook the other day that was about like basically just how bleak like everything, you know, seems. She's like, nothing good is ever gonna happen ever again. And it's like,
I feel that.
I was like but that depends entirely like on your on a global scale. Has anything good ever happened on a global scale? Like good things happen on small scales, you know, like catastrophes happen on like a global scale. So if you're always looking at the global, you're always going to find stuff to be. There's always going to be a war somewhere, a famine somewhere, a drought somewhere. I'm not to say like climate change is real. You know, these things are accelerating, but also like our hyper awareness of them is unprecedented. And like, if I had been alive like during the Black Plague, yes, I would have been stressed, but I would not have understood the scale of the problem.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I think that you're seeing that a little bit in these sort of conspiracy theorists. Who tend to be a little bit less informed about that stuff. And like, so that's the thing, right? It's like you almost get it in a way, because it's like, well, if you're not daily on the fucking news like we are, you might think it's kind of fake and overblown and these kinds of things, right? Like, it almost becomes understandable, and maybe not to say that that's good, but just like, you know, that it's understandable that people would come to those conclusions.
And it's understandable because there's all of this information constantly available in such a huge amount, and they're just choosing to look at the certain little bits, right? Yeah. And it's like, I get that, and because it's overwhelming.
Combine that with the not trusting anyone in charge, as you shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
like they're not wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, there's like a couple things.
And they also see those kinds of groups as they're part of their community.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like
there's a couple
that community aspect too that they don't have anywhere else.
Yeah, I think the isolation plays such a huge, like, honestly, like the Bumble TikTok combo got me like really empathizing with the conspiracy buds, because I was like, you can get to a point where people don't seem real, like other people don't seem real, and like you can't really tell like what you're seeing is a bot versus like a troll versus like a real person. And I think if I wasn't so like grounded in and connected to like other real people, it would be a lot easier to just sit here in my apartment and start to think that whole, you know, all sorts of aspects of society were completely invented because I hadn't experienced them for myself. And then you become like really just like what's the word, like
in a simulation.
Exactly. And then like another chunk of them I think are driven by just like sheer inability to accept how bad the situation actually has gotten.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's another rabbit hole too.
Yeah. You should just be our fourth co-host.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all about the rabbit holes.
But yeah, like, so go watch the movie The Lower Plateau. We'll put a link to the YouTube video
Yeah,
in
please
the
do.
thing. It's really great. It's just the dialogue. Like I said, that you were going for that sort of realistic sort of thing, and sometimes it doesn't feel like you're watching a movie. It's just like you're just in a room with these people, and they're telling you about their problems. Which I love that shit. So
Yeah.
that's why I listen to podcasts. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah. So there's something I was gonna say. Oh yeah, vitamins are fake. Sorry, I'm
Is
saying
it because you piss them all out, or like what's the deal?
I'm taking so many vitamins. Wait, hold on. Wait, where?
Because wasn't it you that said on Facebook or somewhere that like something about vitamins, and I actually commented, I don't think they're real or something.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with vitamins. I take so many vitamins.
Listen. I'm not saying that vitamin C doesn't exist. All right, it does. Just how you intake it matters, I think.
Is it because we're taking too many vitamins?
No, I just think it matters because there are studies. Listen, I don't know. There are studies that that show that like taking a vitamin in isolation orally, like vitamin D or vitamin C or whatever, doesn't actually do very much because it's like your body's not absorbing it the way it does through food, and so you just
Like
piss it
weird.
out.
It's like weird Liz quirk. I can't eat fruit.
Same.
So
Are you allergic to them?
I'm not allergic to them. I can't. My body can't digest sugar of any kind.
Oh,
So that's why I know it's a rough one.
That's
So no
rough.
That
lactose,
sucks.
no dairy, no fruit, no sugar, no wheat, nothing.
Oh my god.
So
Are
I
you
was like, I'll
okay?
buy. I'm not. It really sucks. It really
Wow,
sucks.
here I am making Fago jokes constantly.
As you should,
There's
Mo.
diet Fago. It's fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing healthy
But
or
I
non-sugar
bought
about any
all
Fago.
these like chewable. They're like sugar-free chewable vitamins. Because first of all, because that's my only candy now. Like that's my own like the only form of candy I can enjoy is these sugar-free vitamin gummies. And secondly, because I was like,
Oh,
I
God.
think you can't just not eat fruit. Like you can't just like it's a big part of the food pyramid. You know, like I don't really eat meat, so like I'm like 3/4 of the food pyramid is just like gone to me. So I'm replacing that 3/4 with the gummy.
I think you should just keep doing that because
Yeah, no.
you, at this
I'm
point,
kidding
you have
mostly.
a
I don't know
specific.
anything.
In this case, though, take what you can get. Like,
Yeah.
That
Oh my
pretty much, right?
God.
Just for my own like emotional well-being.
like, can
Yeah.
I mail you some like gummy vitamins or something? I just want to help you. Just
Yeah.
let me help you. Like,
See, like I should clarify. I can actually eat fruits more than I can eat vegetables, but raw
Yeah,
fruits and vegetables. I have oral allergy syndrome, so it's like a pollen thing, and like it makes my mouth really itchy. So like carrots and apples and shit like that, raw at least. I can eat them cooked, but I can't eat raw vegetables. So I tried to be vegan for a bit and it didn't work out.
oh man.
I was like, I was eating
I mean,
fucking.
same, but different reasons. Yeah, being vegan is really hard.
It is. It's expensive as shit. Turns out.
I tried to be vegan and keto at the same time one time.
Whoa.
Oh my god, that's hard.
Man, I fucking lost my shit
you
on
just eat
Richard
lettuce
so
all
many
day?
times. Basically, it was like avocados.
Yeah.
I ate a lot of avocados. And
Yeah, you
and
would.
fought people like left and right. Was just like, get the fuck off my lawn.
You don't have a lawn.
No, I mean at the time I had a lawn. It was the golden years. Anyway,
I admire the vegan buds, but I couldn't make it work for me.
Yeah.
yeah.
No.
I just don't care enough about anything anymore to.
Well, we're up over an hour and a half, and I don't expect
Oh,
to
no.
keep all of that. But
yeah, probably not.
but we should probably wrap it up. Some of the beginning, I'm just gonna take out. I'm probably gonna take out right up to the point where we can actually hear you, because I feel like the first part's not gonna be.
Yeah.
That's
Usable?
fine. We'll figure it out. We have a lot of
Yeah.
error bars
Okay,
here.
I'm sorry I was so easily distracted. I was trying to
No,
be
we are.
concentrating.
No, that
you
was
fit right
awesome.
in. This is
When
like,
in Rome.
Yeah.
like we should have you back on to just talk about whatever random thing is on your mind.
Yeah.
Like if you're like, hey, you know what? I got a thing that's grinding my gears, and it's on a Tuesday. Just message us. We'll just bring you on.
Yeah.
Honestly, dude, like shit like Brian's mic all the time these days. It's like I just get in Facebook arguments. Like it's
Well, you can't eat
yeah.
fruit. I would
I,
too.
I can't eat fruit exactly. So
Like,
I'm just fighting
I'd
with
be so
people and
mad.
like
Fuck, my phone
Yeah.
is gonna die.
Yeah, we should wrap that up. But
Okay,
yeah,
okay. Yeah.
cool.
I'll come back anytime. Thanks
Yeah,
for having me.
yeah, please do. Please come back anytime.
Yay!
All right.
Thanks, bud. So I guess I'll close off my thing now.
Yeah.
Have a
Nice
good
to
one.
meet you.
See you later, Liz.
Nice to meet you. Take care. Bye.
Take care.
Well, that was false. Thanks again to Liz Singh for coming on. That was really, really awesome. She's amazing. We're definitely going to have her back in the future. And like I said, watch the Lower Plateau. We're going to leave the link in the show notes. Please go do that. You can follow us on social media at This Is False Pod. You can email us at This Is False Podcast at protonmail.com. You can follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/This Is False. You can also donate us money if you want. Patreon.com/This Is False. All right, we'll see you next week.